All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Tuesday evening here at B'nai Baruch. So today we're going to carry on with some of the material that we covered on the during the morning lesson, actually. And what I want to first of all do, I apologize for the late start. We had a bit of a technical glitch, which sometimes happens. So we're going to carry on with what we did in the morning from our lesson here. This is called "What is Support in the Torah in the Work?" Which is from Shamati number 6, which is Baal Aslam's articles. As you know, we're doing some Shamati articles during the morning, and these lessons, the Shamati articles, are always good to give us that bit of spice and flavor in internal work, because it really describes well what a person goes through during, the inner states. So Shamatis are always helpful. Now let's see what we can learn from these articles. And we're going to do Shamati 6 once again. What is supporting the Torah in the work? When one learns, but before we start, we've got a question from last week. All right? Am I correct? I am. So yes, last week there was a question from P. Green. Right? Is P. Green here today? I don't know. If yes, okay, we've got a question from you. From last week. I have a question about Pticha. Rav has been showing the cascading of the parts of him down to this world. If we should work on raising spirituality, why is there so much emphasis on parts of him descent? Well, that's a good question. The thing is, when the whole of reality, the whole of reality and humans, man, actually, the spiritual man, obviously, was created, it was all designed as a blueprint. Right? And from that blueprint, we have to kind of find our way back. It's like a map. So all the parts of him that descend to our world is a really kind of like the structure that we have to build. So the reason we're focusing so much on the way down is because we have to go back up the same way we came down. This is why it's sometimes called a ladder. So the ladders of the degree of ladders, right? The ladder of degrees, that way. So the parts of him coming down are important because this is how the Creator created them. And we need to be familiar with it, because when we're ascending in spirituality, we're going to have to go through that process. So just like we came down, we have to go up the same way. And that is why we've got to be familiar with it. So that's why we learn it quite a bit. And Pticha is always good to learn. And also on the KabbalahMedia.info, if you go to the website, on the home front, there will be a banner there which takes you to some of Rav's Pticha lessons that were given in 2019, which are quite comprehensive. And what you can definitely do is go over those lessons if you're interested in Pticha. Okay. So let's get smashing with Shamati number 6. And let's go. What is support in the Torah in the work? When one learns Torah and wants all his actions to be in order to bestow, one must try to always have support in the Torah. Support is considered nourishment, which is love, fear, elation, and freshness, and so on. One should extract all this from the Torah, meaning the Torah should give him these results. However, when one learns Torah and does not have these results, it's not considered Torah, since Torah refers to the light clothed in the Torah. As our sages said, I've created the evil inclination, I've created the Torah as a spice. This refers to the light in it, since the light in it reforms him. We should also know that the Torah is divided into two discernments. 1, Torah, 2, Mitzvah, Commandment. In fact, it is impossible to understand these two discernments before one is awarded walking in the path of the Creator by way of the counsel of the Lord is with those who fear him. This is so because when one is in a state of preparation to enter the Creator's palace, it's impossible to understand the path of truth. However, it is possible to give an example that even a person in the preparation period can somewhat understand. It is as our sages said. Rabbi Yosef said, a mitzvah protects and saves while practiced. The Torah protects and saves both when practiced and when not practiced. The thing is that when practiced refers to when one has some light. One can use this light that he obtained only while the light is still with him, as now he is in gladness because of the light that shines for him. This is discerned as a mitzvah, meaning that he has not yet been rewarded with the Torah, but elicits a life of holiness only from the light. This is not so with the Torah. When one attains some way in the work, one can use the way he has attained, even when he's not practicing it. That is, even while he does not have the light. This is so because only the illumination has departed from him, but he can use the way that he attained in the work, even when the illumination leaves him. Still, we must know that while practiced, a mitzvah is greater than the Torah when not practiced. When practiced means that now one receives the light. This is called practiced, when one receives the light in it. Hence, while one has the light, a mitzvah is more important than the Torah when one has no light, meaning when there is no vitality of the Torah. On one hand, the Torah is important because one can use the way one has acquired in the Torah. On the other hand, it is without vitality, called light. In a time of mitzvah, one does receive vitality called light. Therefore, in this respect, a mitzvah is more important. Thus, when one is without vitality, he is considered wicked, since now he cannot say that the Creator leads the world in a manner of good, who does good. This is called that he is called wicked, since he condemns his Maker, as now he feels that he has no vitality and has nothing to be glad about, so he can say that now he thanks the Creator for giving him delight and pleasure. One cannot say that he believes that the Creator leads his guidance over others in a manner of good and doing good, since we understand the path of Torah as a sensation in the organs. If one does not feel the delight and pleasure, what does it give him that another person has delight and pleasure? If one had really believed that providence is revealed as good and doing good to his friend, that faith should have brought him delight and pleasure from believing that the Creator leads the world with the guidance of delight and pleasure. If it does not bring him vitality and joy, what is the benefit in saying that the Creator does watch over his friend with guidance of good and doing good? The most important is what one feels in one's own body, whether he feels good or bad. A person enjoys his friend's pleasure only if he enjoys his friend's benefit. In other words, we learn that with the sensation of the body, the reasons are not important. It is only important if he feels good. In that state, he says that the Creator is good and does good. If one feels bad, he cannot say that the Creator behaves with him in a manner of good and doing good. Thus, precisely if he enjoys his friend's happiness and receives high spirits from this and feels gladness because his friend feels good, then he can say that the Creator is good, is a good leader. If one has no joy, he feels bad. Thus, how can he say that the Creator is good and does good? Therefore, a state where one has no vitality and gladness is already a state where he has no love for the Creator and ability to justify his Maker and be happy, as is appropriate with one who is granted with serving a great and important king. In general, we must know that the upper light is in a state of complete rest, and the whole expansion of the holy names occurs by the lower ones. In other words, all the names that the upper light has come from the attainment of the lower ones. This means that the upper light is named according to their attainments. Put differently, one names the upper light according to the way in which one attains it, meaning according to one's sensations. If one does not feel that the Creator is giving him anything, what name can he give to the Creator if he does not receive anything from him? Rather, when one believes in the Creator, every single state that one feels, he says that it comes from the Creator. In that state, one names the Creator according to one's feeling. If one feels happy in the state he's in, he says that the Creator is called the good who does good, since this is what he feels. That he receives good from him. In that state, one is called Tzaddik, since he, Matzdik, justifies his Creator. If one feels bad in the state he's in, he cannot say that the Creator is sending him good. Therefore, in that state, one is called Rasha, wicked, since Marshia condemns his Maker. However, there is no such thing as in between when one says that he feels both good and bad in his state. Instead, one is either happy or unhappy. This is the meaning of what our sages said, the world was not created, etc., but either for the complete wicked or for the complete righteous. This is because there's no such reality where one feels good and bad together. When our sages say that there is in between, it is that with the creatures who have a discernment of time. You can say in between in two times, one after the other, as we learned that there is a matter of ascents and descents. These are two times. One sees wicked and one sees righteous, but at the same time, for one to feel good and bad simultaneously, this does not exist. It follows that when they said that the Torah is more important than the Mitzvah, it is precisely when he does not engage in it, meaning when he has no vitality. Then the Torah is more important than a Mitzvah, which has no vitality. This is so because when one cannot receive anything from a Mitzvah, which has no vitality. But with the Torah, one still has a way in the work from what he had received while he was practicing the Torah. Although the vitality has departed, the way remains in him and he can use it. There is a time when a mitzvah is more important than Torah, meaning when there is vitality in the mitzvah and no vitality in the Torah. Thus, when not practiced, meaning when one has no vitality and gladness in the work, one has no other counsel but prayer. However, during the prayer, one must know that he is wicked because he does not feel the delight and pleasure that exists in the world. Although he makes calculations that he can believe that the Creator gives only good, yet not all the thoughts that one has are true in the way of the work. In the work, if the thought leads to action, meaning a sensation in the organs, so the organs feel that the Creator is good and does good, the organs should receive from this vitality and gladness. If one has no vitality, what good are all the calculations if now the organs do not love the Creator because he imparts them with abundance? Therefore, one must know that if he has no vitality and gladness in the work, it is a sign that he is wicked because he's unhappy. All the calculations are untrue if they do not lead to action, meaning to a sensation in the organs that he loves the Creator because he imparts delight and pleasure to the creatures. Right, that was the whole of the article. As you can see, it's quite a long one, okay? But I'm guessing there are no questions at the moment, right? There are questions at the moment. Well. Isn't that a surprise? Let's see what we've got, okay. All right, what is the Torah? Well, the Torah is light. We have actually, Torah's got a few names, right? When we're talking about Torah, it comes from two words, Torah, which means illumination, so light, and Horah, which means a manual, like a user manual, right? So if I use the method of Kabbalah correctly, it becomes, for me, a place where I can extract light. It can illuminate for me. So studying the Torah for us is studying the manual of how to correct ourselves. And in our situation, that's obviously the wisdom of Kabbalah, right? So that's what Torah really means. And if we use it correctly, we should attract the light that reforms, which in essence should correct us. And that would be called studying the Torah. And every time we do a correction upon ourselves, then that would be called a mitzvah, a commandment. David's asking again, Torah is divided into two discernments, Torah and mitzvah. Is the first Torah also divisible into another Torah and mitzvah? Look, you can divide the whole path into bits and pieces, right? Because the whole of reality is, at the end of the day, it's got infinite pieces, like a jigsaw puzzle. But let's take it as a general approach, and then we can get into the details during the work. So Torah is the study which should bring us light, okay? So many times when they use the word Torah, it's actually light. Because if I use the method of correcting myself properly, that's what I should get. So according to the result, that's what they call Torah. And mitzvah is the commandment, is what I need to do, which is to correct myself. So to change from my egoism to bestowal, that's called a mitzvah, a commandment of the Creator. So in every degree, we're going to do that. We're going to have to do that, because every time I need to correct a desire, that's how I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to study the Torah, attract the light, reveal the evil, and then from that evil, I need to come to a prayer in order to correct it. So I'm working on it, right? And then the light that reforms corrects it, and then that turns into a mitzvah. So first we study, we then reveal the truth. This is called the wisdom of truth, and the truth is that our egoistic nature is bad. And then we feel bad, as it says in the article, we feel bad in our lives, so we think badly of the Creator. And once he corrects us, right, because we're working on correction, so we need to get corrected. And if we do get corrected, then we attain the light of the Torah, and then we can justify the Creator and become a tzaddik, like it says in the article. What are we doing? We're matzdik at a boreh. We justify the Creator. Okay. If we name the upper light according to the way in which one attains it, meaning according to one's sensations, does that mean the sensation is an individual or is a 10? Well, look, I'm getting the sensation, okay, from the environment all the time, but the sensation is always felt in me. So if I'm in an environment where I'm studying the wisdom of Kabbalah, and if my approach to the study is correct, then from the environment, I should get some discernments, which those discernments should inside of me, like give me the sensation of good, bad, ups and downs, ascents and descents, all kinds of different states. Why? Because we should be going through emotional changes, right? So every time we're delving into the study, and if we're active in the group and we're trying to connect, then we should find all kinds of states which disagree with what we're going through. And that disagreement then allows me to discern what part of me likes the creator, what part of me hates the creator, all these kinds of things. I should be going from one extreme to the other, like from wanting to love the creator and feeling good to wanting to kill him. That's just feeling bad. So from those extreme points, and this is also how life is, and this is how also life is going to turn out for a lot of people in the upcoming days, because what we're going to see is an ongoing worsening state in the world as we've started to go through this process with the COVID-19. So as more and more, as time passes, we're going to get deeper and deeper into humanity crisis. So we're going to go through all kinds of dramas. Why do we need to go through all kinds of dramas? Because life needs to give us the sensation that we need to feel like we're doing something wrong. And we can only feel that we're doing something wrong or we're in a bad state if I feel bad about the state. If we all felt good about the state, then nothing would change. So the creator has to, in spirituality as well, this is why we're going through ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. So we can have some kind of a discernment about what we're feeling, and then we can scrutinize it in our mind, and we can actually expand our mind. And humanity will also have to come to that. Fortunately, sooner than later, hopefully, but there's no escape. Can you give an example of vitality in a mitzvah that is absent of vitality in the Torah? Well, look, vitality is explained really simply, and he's done a really good job. He's saying, listen, you either feel good or bad. If you feel good, you got vitality. If you feel bad, you don't. End of story. And that's how it is with life as well. So he's explained it rather nicely. He's telling us, listen, there is nothing blurry here. You can't say also, I feel nothing. I don't feel good or I don't feel bad. You can't even say that either. Why? Because our nature wants to feel good. So if I don't feel good, it means I feel bad. So there are only two states, good or bad. Vitality, a good feeling, I'm going to get that through the group, through the environment. The bad feeling is when I'm stuck in myself. If I'm stuck in myself, constantly thinking about myself, and then I'm just stuck in the swamp. And that's the kind of thing actually that keeps a person depressed and sad and miserable. The more you think and expand your vessels towards the outside, actually the happier you'll be. And in fact, the less problems and dramas you'll have as well. So another question from David. Is there a way that I can check that the Torah has made any corrections on me? Well, I don't know about corrections, because as we get corrected, we will obviously see them, just like kids. When they grow up, as they grow up, they see what states they went through. During our growth phase, we don't really discern that we're growing, just like children, right? When they're running around, they're growing, but they're not thinking about how they're growing. They're just growing. Only the grown-ups from the outside see that they're growing. Why? Because we've gone through that, and we can take a look from the outside. So as we are growing, it's difficult to come up with all these discernments. Only afterwards, after I've gone over some events, after I've, how do they say it? It's like growing up. After I've grown up, I can say, well, this is what it feels like. to be a grown-up kid. Why? Because the process is over. So during the process, I'm only going through emotions. Only after the emotions, then I can start relating to it intellectually, and then some understanding can accompany me on the path, and then I can say, yep, that's it. So the only way to really check is seeing how I'm changing. In what? In the love of others. That's how I can check. If I'm beginning to see that I'm not thinking my friends at all, and I don't want to think about them and so on, then, I'm checking myself again. So I'm seeing that I'm going backwards, I'm deteriorating. That's also a good thing. At least I see the truth. Right? So I'm studying and studying and studying, and I'm seeing that, I like the friends less, I don't want to hang out with them, and so on. So that reality begins to sink in that we're egoists and we can't love anyone. So seeing that is good, then a person can turn to the Creator with a prayer. And then he can overcome that situation with the prayer. That overcoming should give him vitality to move forward. Okay, so all of a sudden David gave us a few questions there. Other than that, nothing. Yeah, other than that, it's just David's. Okay, it's David's night tonight. All right. So what should we do, right? What should we get from this article? Well, first of all, we have to understand that in Shamati, they can't constantly write about the environment, okay? So Shamati articles are talking about how we are going through inner states. So he's describing to us that, when we're studying, that study should bring us some kind of an illumination. What does that mean? Actually, it means that I should see new things in me, right? Because it's like a dark room, right? I go in there and I open the light, I turn the light on, and all of a sudden I see the room. And the same here. We're studying, and as we study, we begin to turn the light on. So that allows us to see our nature. And the first thing about the wisdom of Kabbalah is when we're studying is we begin to discern what our nature is really like. How egoistic we are, how selfish we are, how we don't think about others, and so on. Now, some people outside there on the street in their normal lives, they say, but I'm such a nice guy, and so on. It's true. This is how they see their lives, and this is how they see themselves. And that's fine. We're not sticking our nose into their affairs. But the truth of the matter is, human nature is egoistic. And the only time you're going to see how egoistic you are is if you decide to do something good for others. If you're constantly deciding to love others than yourself, then you're going to meet resistance inside you, because human nature is me first, others later. That's how it works. So by revealing this nature, we're going through all kinds of emotional states. These emotional states are called changes in us, changes of realization. What the true state I am in? What is that state? What is that condition? What is that nature that I'm really inside? How I am created, how I live, what governs me, how my nature is working, and how much control do I have over it, if any at all. So all of these things should come to me through the study. And that's called Torah. I'm attracting the light and it's showing me the truth. Now, it doesn't mean I have to feel good. This is the wisdom of Kabbalah, the wisdom of truth. It has to show me the truth. So a lot of people, when they come to the wisdom of Kabbalah, they study and they say, well, you know what? I don't like this study. Okay? They don't like it. Okay? That's fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not judging anyone. But the wisdom of Kabbalah isn't for a person who wants to feel good about himself all the time. It's for a person who wants to see the truth. From that, he feels good. Because if I reveal the truth, then what's going to happen is I'm going to look for ways to fix it. If I understand I'm in a bad state, if I understand I'm sick, God forbid, what am I going to do? I'm going to go to the doctor. If I'm a bit late, he's going to say, sorry, mate, we can't do anything for you. You got a few months left and it's bye-bye. But if I'm early, if I'm constantly checking myself, and I'm thinking, there's something wrong with me, I better go quick. And if I go to the doctor and he's going to check me out and say, it's a good thing you came a little early because now we can do something about it. So same here. If humanity, the later they are in understanding that our nature is just causing bad things to us because we're so egoistic, the later they understand that, the more suffering is going to hit. And the sooner we realize and decide to do something about it by going through this personal change and transformation, then it's going to be easier for all of us. And this is how it all works out, you see. Mine is asking, how can we attain the sensations in the organs? Well, the organs are all the desires that we have. So we're only going to attain them as we go forward and as we get feedback in our sensations, sensual feedback, let's call it, right, from the group. Because as we study, the light should work on us. As we interact with the group, then we should, reveal our nature and sensations inside of us. It should make us feel either good or bad. And between the good and the bad, I should begin to develop my mind. I should begin to evaluate and scrutinize things with the mind. But first I have to go through the sensations. So first the sensation has to appear, and then I can scrutinize it. So the only way to attain it is to go through the emotions and then add to it the wisdom. Isoke is asking, if a friend's dissent is bringing the atmosphere down, how can we restore the vitality in the 10? Well, that's what you guys have to talk about. If one of us is going down the rabbit hole and it's not looking too good for everyone, then this is a state for the whole 10. It's not, look, when a friend is in a descent or he feels down, it's not his fault. It's everybody's fault. And it's not actually a fault either. It's just a natural state that we're going through. In life, we go through ups and downs. So in spirituality, we're going to go through ups and downs as well. There's nothing wrong with it. It's natural, needs to happen. Otherwise, we'd never grow. But the only way he's going to overcome that is if we all look after him. When a person's in a descent, that's it. The guy needs the group to take care of him. That means in thought, in prayer, in helping him in any way we can. I don't know. You can talk about it. You can do workshops about it. You can go and have a drink. If you can't go out, you're all in a lockdown, have a virtual dinner. Have a few drinks, have a dinner virtually. Talk, get together, do something. Okay, because when a person's in descent, it's just hard for him to get himself out. He needs to be strong, and nobody's that strong. So all of us, even friends who've been studying with us for many years, if you don't hang on to the group, if you don't hold on to the 10, it's just a nightmare. Because you can't, if you don't hold on to the 10, you don't hold on to the environment, there's no way for you to get fed. You're not getting fed. Just like a baby has to hold on to his or her mum so that she can be fed, looked after. Why? Because she can't look after herself, or he can't look after himself. It's just how it is. So the group needs to be like a nanny, and the group needs to facilitate as best they can what they can do for the friend. There's, there's not much else you can do except to sit down, talk, try to understand the situation as well. If a person's in a descent, you got to make him realize that this is the path. We're going through ups and downs, and we just need to get together and, go above these things as best we can. And sometimes a person's going through a lot of serious situations in life, and it's hard. And we've got to be a bit understanding. And also the friend that's in a descent, he shouldn't forget about the lessons. He shouldn't forget about the friends as well. Even though he's in a descent, he should still drag himself with the little force that he has. Still drag himself along. Because being in a descent doesn't mean that I'm drifting away from the group. Being in a descent doesn't mean that I'm disconnecting from the friends. Being in a descent really means that I'm having difficulty overcoming the rejection that has now revealed in me towards connection with the friends. And I'm trying to overcome it, and overcoming that is just not possible. So the friends need help. We all need help, and we should all think about the friend, talk about it, talk to him as well, and talk about it amongst yourselves as well as Attain, how we should all be helping each other, not just that friend as well. We should all be in some way, in one way or another, helping each other all the time. Otherwise, it's going to be a drama for all of you. Because one person falls, then another one will, and another one will, and another one will. So keeping that liveliness in the group is really important for the whole 10. You should be very afraid of losing a friend on the path, really. Because when somebody leaves, it's like, taking force away from the, it's like losing a limb. It's like losing a limb. So everyone should really take care of the friends as best they can. Okay, so we got that as well. Okay, so what we have to do, in short, what we can take from this article is prepare ourselves during the preparation period. And what we have to do, what does that mean? That means we have to learn as much as we can. We have to come to the lessons, try to connect with the friends, participate as much as we can. And the more we do that, the more discernments we should have. And through those discernments, we should be going up and down, up and down. So we should have a lot of ups and downs. And then those ups and downs should then give us the discernments, the mind, the wisdom, because wise is he who is experienced. So all of those ups and downs should give us the wisdom about how the path is, how I need to tackle it, how I need to approach it. So all these things I should then channel into my work with my 10. And with the 10, all of us together, we should create that mechanism of support. And as we go from 1 degree to 1 degree, 1 degree to 1 degree, then we're going to go through a Torah, Mitzvah, Torah, Mitzvah, Torah, Mitzvah. And then we're going to have to go up the ladder, just like we came down, just like the Creator created from Ein Sof, everything down to this level of existence, this perception of reality. Then from here, what we're going to have to do is climb all the way up. And the only way to do that is to go through everything I need to go through in order to grow up, and then use the environment always to advance myself. How can I advance myself? By helping others to advance. The only way we can really advance in spirituality is helping others to advance. That is the only way. All right? Because the purpose of creation is for humanity to unite with the Creator. And that is what we should be helping each other with. And that is what we should be concerned about. So our full focus should be on how to help each other, how to stick together, and then how to go through all these states. Then with the friends, we can go through them like courageous warriors. Other than that, a person on his own is always weak, especially fighting against our own nature. Who wants to fight against his own nature? It's just like crazy. Only if we come together and we understand the necessity of changing our nature, then we can fight against it, because then we can see that our nature is causing us bad, and then we'll feel the necessity to change it with something better. And that will only come through if we work and study and try to connect. This understanding has to develop inside of us. All right. Oh, so we've got a few more questions here. One's from Erica. Could the friends in the tent also pray for the friend in descent? Yeah, of course. We should all be praying for each other. Right? Never pray for yourself in our business. In the wisdom of Kabbalah, if I pray for myself, it's like egoistic. So we're always praying for the friends. And if everybody prays for each other, right? Imagine that, right? If everybody's praying for everybody else, isn't it better than me praying for myself? Because if I've got 9 friends, let's say we're in a group, right? We're in a group of 10, and 9 friends are praying for me. So 9 people are praying for me instead of me praying for me. Think about it, right? So don't you think it's better if we all pray for each other? Then we get 9 times the benefit. Okay? So think of it like that. This is why praying for others also makes you powerful, because in your 10, you're praying for your friends, they're praying for you. Everybody feels like energized. Why? Because we're not thinking of ourselves. The more you think about yourself, the more you get, stuck in yourself, and it's harder to get out. And once you're stuck in yourself, you're always going to be drowned with problems, concerns. That's what the ego is like. So if I'm constantly praying for the friends, I'm actually getting out of my skin. I'm actually getting rid of the problems as well that way. David's asking, did the Kabbalists say how long it usually takes for someone to go through all the necessary degrees? No, how can they? How can they? It depends on the person who's studying. Depends on the person who's studying. We don't know how fast you're going to finish and graduate university. Depends on you. If you're like me, it'll take you 5 years. Okay? Not good. So if you're like some of my friends at university, you can finish 2 departments in 4 years. How's that? All right. So you get that and you get that. It depends on the person. Everybody has to put some effort into it, and effort counts. There is no set standard period. Should we worry about helping those outside of BB or just the friends in BB? Our spiritual path is only between us. That's all. I mean, we help other people, but, we help through dissemination. If they want to listen, if they want to, understand what's going on in the world, we help them understand with articles. We explain to the world, listen, you want to change the world, you got to change yourself. There's no other way. So we try to help others through dissemination, but spiritual-wise, our spiritual development is only in the 10, so don't take it out there. They'll think you're crazy, and they'll be right to think you're crazy, because you're not at the same level of, you're just not there at the same frequency. You're not on the same page. So that way, you'll just cause confusion. With the outside world, you got to talk to them in the language they understand. You got to behave with them in a way that they feel is normal. Okay? Right, yeah. So, okay, that was an interesting evening today. So everybody was kind of psyched up for the article. That's good. That's good. So hopefully we'll carry on and we'll call it a night. So I'm glad to see you guys all here. Hopefully we'll be together as well next Tuesday. I'm saying hopefully, okay, because I've got a trip coming up. I've got a bit of I've got a business trip. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. Worst case scenario, we'll still have something recorded. That's the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, I'll be able to make it. We'll see how I go. All right, because I'm not sure about the internet and everything where I'm going. Although it is a city, maybe it might be too weak for the broadcast or whatever. So I don't know. But as usual, we'll carry on. All the best. Take care. Everyone have a great evening. A pleasure being with you as always.